Have you heard of the 35 billion euro transfer that a major financial institution accidentally made? Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but this really happened. The cause? An environment so complex and chaotic that no one could really manage it. Cybersecurity needs to be simple. When it gets complex, then it gets expensive, slow, and risky. You can't manage what you don't understand. I've learned this the hard way, perhaps like many of you. In this video, we'll show how this global banking institute rethought their firewall strategy and chose Guardicore-Centra's simple software-defined solution over traditional firewall technology that would have meant massive amounts of infrastructure changes and disruptions. But before we go into the solution, I'm sure you want to hear more about this accidental 35 billion euro transaction. It was a systems developer. He was a good guy, didn't do it intentionally. He fat-fingered the IP address of a server and accidentally transferred 35 billion euros to another bank, because he thought he was testing a Swift transaction script on a dev system, but actually did it to prod. After a few extremely stressful days, the bank got their money back, and immediately they had a big audit to understand what happened. The audit findings were simple. They needed to redo their segmentation. They had segmentation, but over time, no one followed the rules. Development and test systems and prod networks, not to mention the users, the security cameras, the building controls, the network devices, all living together in segments not meant for them. Cats living in doghouses. Plus, there were 30,000 employees with direct network access to high-risk financial systems. This is the perfect recipe for disaster. The bank needed a way to accurately and quickly identify which non-prod systems had been misplaced in production and vice versa, so segmentation controls could be reapplied correctly. They first took the traditional route with legacy firewalls. This would have taken at least 1 year and 6 full-time engineers just to identify the systems, and then, only then, be able to actually resegment them, which would have taken twice that time. That's where Guardicore came in to give them the insight to what systems lived where, then virtually and easily resegment them. First by environment and user space, and eventually down to the application level. With firewalls, they would need to physically do that. At the same time re-IPing those servers, which is a crazy complicated operation that takes lots of coordination with multiple teams, moving physical cables, changing VLANs, changing routing tables and IP addresses simultaneously. Like in that 1980s War Games movie, you remember the two guys turning the keys at the same time to launch the nukes? That's what you have to do when you re-IP and change VLANs on a server. In other words, very complex and very disruptive. With Guardicore, we were able to do this with only 2 engineers, finish the actual segmentation in just a few months, a task they had planned to take 2 years. With Guardicore-Centra, it's a simple agent install, no physical touching of the server or any network component. The agents report back activity, and you group them up in dev or prod or end user label, whatever you need, and apply a simple policy to those labels that allow only the required communications and prevent anything unauthorized. With software-defined segmentation, you take that cable wrestling match out of the data center. Thank you so much for your time. There are other stories about how Guardicore saved time and money and reduced complexity for many of our other customers. Please check out our other videos on our website or find us on YouTube.